I've mentioned this before. Whenever we drive past homeless encampments, my daughter River is always puzzled. She's sad about it. She has lots of questions. And she always asks the same thing. She's like, why can't we just give them homes? Why can't we help them? And my next guest is a retired nurse doing just that, though, for dozens of unhoused men and women. She's amazing. She's what we call a good neighbor.
Good, so good. Good neighbor. So good.
So good. It's my favorite. I love that one. Get it, Jesse. From Eden Village in Springfield, Missouri, please welcome Linda Brown, y'all. It's an honor to meet you. This is more than a decade, though, in the making. Can you take us back to where it started?
Yes, in 2010, David and I, my husband and I, moved downtown in Springfield to a loft apartment. And we started seeing a lot of homeless people on the streets, especially in the evening. But I've always had a passion and a curiosity to find out their story, what made them homeless, what
They're all
happened.
different, yeah.
Because they're all different. And so we took on ourselves and we opened a little spot downtown in Springfield one night a week. And we offered coffee and donuts, and we had them come in, and we sat them at tables, and we sat with them and talked, got to know who they were, realized that they're not any different than we are.
Yeah.
They've had some bad luck, you know, whether it's losing a family member or a job, and some of them can't cope with that. And so we realized that, you know, especially those that have lost a family or, you know, their family member, they don't know what to do.
Yeah. But Linda, those gatherings sparked the idea for Eden Village, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And how that worked was in 2016, David and I were closing up the gathering tree, and it was cold. It was a real blustery, cold winter night. And so we walked out and went to our warm car, warm home, warm bed. And now our friends, who we've been with for at least 6 years now, every week, that they had to go home to a hidden, cold, dark, wet campsite somewhere.
Yeah.
And it just hit me, and I said, you know, we've got to do something. These people are our friends. So we decided that we were going to try to do a tiny home village. And we didn't have the money to do that, but we all said that God does. And so what happened, we had a good friend give us about $50,000 to start. And then
That's a good friend.
Yes.
I'm like, whoa, you got some good
Because,
friends.
you know, we had a vision.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get your vision to somebody else and them give you money. But they gave us $50,000, and we also got a grant for $750,000 to start.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. God does provide.
He does provide.
Yeah.
So we found a vacant mobile home park, and it was
Perfect.
already zoned for mobile homes. So we got these. They're called park model homes. They're about 400 square feet. They're on wheels, and so we rolled them in. You know, so we started with that, and it just grew because we'd have one individual say, "Hey, we want to sponsor a home." And then somebody else would come along and say, we want to sponsor a home. So before we knew it, we had all 31 homes in Eden Village 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
But what a beautiful heart you have. Well, Linda's husband, David, was part of launching all of this as well. And he's in our audience right now. Hi, David.
Hey, Kelly.
You look very handsome. So, David, you were a bit skeptical about creating Eden Village in the beginning. Did you think it was going to be just so costly and overwhelming kind of thing?
Well, Kelly, we were running a drop-in center, and our budget was about $30,000 a year. And when this idea came to us and how to go about this was a multi-million-dollar project. I said, there's no way we could do that. Well, there is a way to do it because I have a woman that has a passion and a desire to do something.
Amen.
And I've got to do what she says. So we stepped out.
I love that. I think that when something is that, and you feel like it's your purpose, it's that meaningful, and I've sometimes believed, like, a lot of times believe like we're the vessel for something bigger than us, a bigger purpose. And
Absolutely.
I think that that's the beautiful thing. If you trust in that, and then I think that it'll make its way. But it's a lot of hard work. So thank you two so much for starting this.
Oh.
It's a lot of hard work, determination, and sacrifice of time, of things, and of asking people for money and all that kind of stuff. It's a really beautiful thing that y'all have done. Thank you. Joining us now are two residents of Eden Village. Let's welcome everybody, Jenny and Jonathan. Give it up. Jenny and Jonathan, so cute. So let's start with you, Jenny. Like, how did you meet Linda?
Okay, well, I met Linda in 2015. Became homeless in 2013, ended up in a domestic violence shelter, lost my home to foreclosure, and got estranged from my family because I felt that they had, backed my husband at the time instead of me. And I ended up not having anywhere to go. I struggled.
Wow.
And then somebody told me about the gathering tree.
Yeah.
And I think the second time I went in there is when I met Linda, and I fell in love.
Oh, I love that. Well, she's easy to fall in love with. She's a little light. Well, Jonathan, how did you connect with Linda? How did you find out?
It was 2015. My wife and I were going through some legal issues. I was in between jobs. We lost our house. My wife ended up going to jail for the legal issues we were dealing with. And then shortly after, I was homeless by myself and served divorce papers. And I just continued to spiral out of control. We had lost our kids. They were openly adopted out. Pretty much at that point, I didn't really have any reason to keep going. And I just spiraled out of control using hard drugs and just thought to myself it didn't matter anymore. Well, it was that year in 2015 when I met Linda. I met her when the gathering tree was just it wasn't even a drop-in center then. They were just doing sack lunches outside of the church.
Yeah.
And worked into the drop-in center downtown, and they I guess felt like that they could give me a little bit of responsibility, and I started doing some hourly work for them while I was living on the streets, and
Wow.
that's pretty much how I met
And you know
them.
what? All that is just a little opportunity. And like literally everybody grew up, like my family, we grew up from hand-me-downs, people making us food and sending it sometimes. Like people were in jail at points, and it was just like, it was very chaotic. And every family is capable of that scenario. Like something can happen. And I think that's the difference, that not everybody, some people feel like they're invincible of it. And sometimes life, just like this whole pandemic, hits all at once for a lot of people. Now they're realizing everything can come crashing down at once. And it can happen to any of us, you know?
We're all one wrong decision away from losing anything and everything it is that we know and love.
Yeah.
And being right in that same boat, so.
And sometimes it can be a wrong decision, and sometimes it could just be the cards you're dealt.
It
And
can.
it's like, okay, well, I gotta find a different hand. What was it like when they gave you a home? Were you just, I would have lost it.
I did.
Okay.
I did, and
The investment in you must have felt good.
yes. So Eden Village called me, and they asked me if I was interested in moving into a home there. And I said, how soon do you want to see me? I mean, I was like, oh my God.
Yes.
It was exciting. So I got to see the house that was going to be mine. And it's a tiny home, but it's beautiful. I mean, cathedral ceilings, furnished. I have leather recliners. I got flat screen TV, a full kitchen, and all these special touches.
Wow.
It wasn't just a home. It was part of a community.
Yeah.
So everybody else in that community had been homeless like I was at the same time. So it was shared trauma. So we all move in and we invest in each other, boost each other, and help each other. And we have just, we've connected with this bond.
This network of people that understand.
Yeah, and then through the services that they provide, especially the mental health, because if you didn't have issues when you became homeless, you certainly would have them coming out of it.
Yeah.
But just those things, and it's just, they gave us the tools, they gave us the support, and I'm a success story.
I love that. That's such a proud moment, too, to say a success story. And by the way, I think, mental health is one of those things people don't want to talk about, but I think that everyone could use someone to talk to.
Yes.
Doesn't matter how successful you are in life or where you are in life. I think having someone to talk to and just going through stuff, especially outside your circle, is so important, especially if they can get you tools to kind of, navigate your emotions and wherever you're at. I think that's so important. So, Jonathan, what about you?
What was it like for me? Best way I can describe it is there's 31 homes at Eden Village, and it was like Willy Wonka just passed out 31 golden tickets again. And we were given a lifetime opportunity. I mean,
Fresh start, too.
it was essentially a pilot program, the first of its kind. We're given a life-changing experience here, and it's make or break time.
Yeah.
They provided me with all the support, all the encouragement I needed. I was able to reconnect with my family, get all my legal issues cleaned up and taken care of.
Wow.
At 32 years old, I was able to go to college for the first time.
Wow. Wow.
They provided me with every bit of support network it is that I could have
provided you
ever
with
wanted to.
opportunity.
Just
Yeah.
constantly give me that little poke and prod to always be the best version of me that I could be. So
Well, Jenny and Jonathan, what do you want to say, Linda? I know you want to say something.
You go first.
Well,
remarkable and exceptional. Don't even do any justice to describe the person that you and David are. You guys gave me everything it was I needed to be able to get my life back on track, to continue to push me to be the person that I always could have been had I not made those bad choices before in my life.
I'm like, okay, I'll just leave
I
these
love you
here.
guys. I love you guys like nobody else. I don't think I could idolize two people more. And at 35 years old, I can sit here and say that when I grow up, I could not ask to be anything better than what you or David are. It's all I could ever want to be. So, thank you for getting me my life back.
Wow, that's gotta. Woo. Jenny, how about you? Get ready, girl.
Linda, I fell in love with you when I first met you. I didn't believe in myself, but you did. You never stopped believing in me when I couldn't believe in myself. You never stopped unconditionally loving me when I couldn't love myself. You know, and you have helped build me up, and you have helped show me that, you know, I'm not that bad. You know, I'm getting better about that. But what you did for me, you reached out and helped me reconnect with my children when I was afraid to. And now I have a great relationship with them, and that was the best gift I've ever been given.
thank you.
I love you.
Thank you both.
And now you're now in the works on expanding Eden Village, which I think is amazing. So can you explain a little bit about that?
Yes, our first village, like I said, has 31 tiny homes in it. We have our second village now that has 24 homes on site, and we're about halfway, we've got about half the residents in now. And then we've got property for the third village, which is, it's just grass right now, but it's going to start, we hope, in 2022 to get it going. And, you know, what we've realized is that it's easy to step out in faith and do something that will give them a hand up instead of a hand out.
Yeah, well said. Well, we love everything that you're doing, and so does Freedom Mortgage. They're one of the nation's leading VA and FHA home mortgage providers, championing home ownership for all, which is very important. They want to help you continue to grow, which is why Freedom Mortgage is donating $25,000 to Eden Village.
Are you kidding me?
We're really excited. That's awesome. And it's just an exciting thing. I was saying in commercial break, I really hope that other cities are listening.
Yes.
You know, this is doable.